for Godzilla?
I've not, no, Carl. What does it look like?
Sorry. Well, it looks like, sort of like, if you're looking at the old movie, just like a bunch of claymation mushed together into a big floppy dinosaur. It looks quite good. So how do you think America's switched up the design?
I think it's got like Coke. It's just a big bottle of Coke. And NASCAR. We're not American.
It's got like the Monster, like it's sponsored by that energy drink Monster.
It was a great branding choice for us. Really, it really hyped up the sales. Red Bull wanted to get in, but it just wasn't extreme enough.
Oh yeah, no. Know? Could you imagine Godzilla with wings? That's why they didn't say yes.
That's fucked up. Exactly. Yeah, you can't give that fucker wings. My name's Oscar.
My name is Carl, and this is
Who Would Watch This?
Who'd watch it? Who'd watch this? Matthew Broderick said he hasn't.
Did he actually? Welcome to Who Would Watch This, the podcast where we watch a film, chat about that film, and then freaking talk about it, and then try and figure out who would watch it.
Today we're talking about the 1998 version of Godzilla, which currently has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 15%, an IMDb rating of 5.4, and a Letterboxd rating of 2.1. Oscar, what's the plot?
Carl and I, we both read the plot beforehand, and so many things just clicked. French nuclear tests irradiate an iguana into a giant monster that heads off to New York City. And the American military must chase the monster across the city to stop it before it reproduces. Powerful.
That's very powerful. That's definitely an Americanized version of the film. Who, the director, Roland Emmerich, is on record as saying he hates the original, and he only did the film because he wanted to take all creative liberties.
Oh, you kind of have to respect the film for that. Imagine like getting because constantly they're trying to please the fans. Imagine going a beloved classic like, I'm going to fuck it up. I don't give a shit. Fuck you. Beloved Japanese thing? Fuck it. My thing now. My toys. Fuck off.
Oh, classic Roland Emmerich. What a career.
I looked through his like entire filmography, and it just suddenly I'm like, oh, I have opinions on all these films, and and it's funny they all have a thread line. They all are fucking too long. Like,
they're all too long.
2 hours 40.
They're all like end of the world films, apart from that one movie about Shakespeare he did, and the Patriot.
He won him 6 Oscars. Oh, and 100,000 BC, which I saw all the ads for. Never saw it.
That's a shocker. I'm a defender of moments of what's it called, 2012. But
yeah, you had a high review for 2012.
I wouldn't say a high review. You can power down a little.
3.5. Pretty fucking high.
It's a fun time at the movies. I'll tell you.
That's fucked.
That's real fucked. It's John Cusack at his best. You tell me you're not going to give John Cusack a 3.5 when he's at his best. Thank you very much.
Jesus Christ, Carl! You really that's low.
The Queen saves her corgis at the end. It's top-notch comedy all round.
Jesus Christ! I genuinely think this is the same level as 2012. But
I haven't seen 2012 in a very long time. I'm convinced we should do it on the podcast to see whether I'll defend it still or not.
There's no way you're defending that film. It's 2 hours 40. I remember John Cusack is like a divorcee, and
a limo driver.
And his kid learns to not wet herself. That's the arc.
It also conveniently just the new dad that everybody loves gets killed, so John Cusack can get back with him, like Amanda Peet.
That is fun. There's those 2 Russian fat kids. Remember them? Woody Harrelson, I think, is a madman for a bit.
Yeah, he's good fun. Did you know? I'm pretty sure that film is like one of the highest grossing original films of all time.
Yeah, it had like $900 million. Crazy.
Yeah, pretty wild. People were very worried 2012 was going to kill everyone.
I remember that Eve just sitting there playing games, going, well, If it ends, at least play Minecraft, you know, go out with a bang.
But the Mayan calendar. No, we're getting off topic. This isn't about Roland Emmerich. It is about Godzilla, and we're going to rewind to a time when we hadn't seen the film and tried to predict who we thought would watch it. Oscar, Godzilla.
Yes.
It's part of our bad CGI month. I feel like this film won't have aged well. Have you ever seen it?
No, I've seen the scene where Matthew Broderick says fish. So that's my perspective going into this. That's where I'm at. So I'm gonna base who I think would watch it off that scene alone. Carl, have you seen this one?
Yeah, it was a big repeater on like Channel 10 on like a Friday night for kids when they're like, look at you losers, you haven't got a plan tonight. And you're like, hey, I'm 10. You can't say that. I'm not meant to have plans. And they're like,
crazy. That's what the text was on Channel 10. They just really were like, fuck you, Carl. We know what you're doing.
They were like, you've seen Flushed Away enough. Watch Godzilla. Matthew Broderick. Kids love Matthew Broderick.
He's the Bob the Builder of... No, go
on. So I've seen it a handful of times. God, I probably haven't seen this film in over a decade. I know it's not good, but I mean, I probably found some sort of joy in just big monster crushes people back when I was young.
Is it not good, like, just, like, long, or just, like, bad dialogue, or just not... I don't know what a good Godzilla film is. People keep going, like, it's just, every time a new... There's been, like, 7, I feel like, for the last 20 years. People are like, not a good Godzilla film. What's a good Godzilla film?
Well, I don't know. Like, America doesn't know what it's doing with a Godzilla film. Because you're saying this, I might watch the original one for next week.
Get that way. Yes,
yeah,
we can. Because
that's the one everybody's like, that is a good Godzilla film. That's what Godzilla's supposed to be. So then I'll be able to actually weigh in on that.
Look at us, real film people. We'll compare the original.
As for who this is for, It's like, I feel like it's definitely going to be a product of its time. Like, big monster, big CGI, a star-studded ish cast of people from that decade. Like,
imagine the producers know it's star-studded ish. You know, we got Matthew. Let me have a Google. We also have Kevin Dunn from Veep fame.
Kevin, you mean the World According to Jim? They've got Jim from The World According to Jim. What a hit!
It's gonna make some money.
What a hit!
I can make some money.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm gonna think it's for... God, I'm gonna think it's just for, like... people that... I guarantee you it was made for people that like Jurassic Park. I reckon that's why it was greenlit by the studio.
Gotcha.
Like, just because it's like, look, big dinosaurish monster crushes people. So I'm gonna say
that's the gist of Jurassic Park, right? There's some dinosaurs, they crush people. Done.
You know how, like, producers take the wrong message away from a film's success?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
So it's just like, it's almost like how, like, I think Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a really good film. And I think that's because it has really good characters and a great premise and good comedy. And it's got great animation style and things like that. And it has a good weighty story to go along with it. But what studios have decided to go for is like, do we all make a multiverse movie? And I'm like, that's not the thing.
That wasn't the thing that everyone loved. They're like, we've already got Toby on the phone. Shut up. He wants a lot more money than we are willing to give. Fuck it, Toby. You're in.
That's why I think movies back in the day were like, oh, that dinosaur movie did well. We should all make dinosaur films.
Yeah, now things are getting too complex. Just like multiverse. Like, imagine a 70-year-old man who's still like producing. Just like, oh no, I'm very scared. Can we make a dinosaur movie like we did back in the day? It was easier.
He's like, just keep making West Side Story. Just keep making it.
Can we do that? Steven's like, yeah. We can do that, Bryan.
We'll do it, and it'll be better. Oscar, who do you think's going to watch this?
Again, only seen Matthew say fish, so I think it's for young teens. I think young teens like this one. We don't ever actually do an age demographic. I think young teens, maybe into smoking.
This is a hipster film?
This is a hipster film. This is you go to your parents' house, you like watch Godzilla, and they're a bit upset, but like their kids are changing. They're upset with the times.
Everyone knows hipsters like three things. It's what's his face? Timothy Chalamet, the film Lady Bird, and Godzilla from 1998.
That's pretty much it. That's just like an Etsy mood board. Matthew Broderick's face and the dinosaur stepping on him, I assume, is it's the aesthetic of 2022. Oh, Carl, this was so fucking long. It was so long. Why'd you make me watch it?
Sorry,
It's 2 hours 20. It took me 4 hours. I couldn't. This was painful.
Oscar, it's only long if you don't get caught up in its cracking pace. And some of us did get caught up in its cracking pace. I wasn't one of them, but I'm defending it for the people out there. It's quite fucking long. Especially because me, Carl, listened to past Carl, and I did go and watch the old Godzilla. That is a crisp 90-minute film. It flies by in terms of what it's doing. That's the optimal Godzilla movie. So
yeah, I wish this was 90 minutes. There's a subplot with those fucking eggs. I'm like, oh, this is 45 minutes and did not need to be here. That was upsetting.
God, it gets to a point at the end when you're like, oh, thank God, that was the climax, and they're like, nope, and you're like, no, it felt like you were ending.
Because that's the thing, every character is so one-dimensional, so their arc can be solved in like a snap of a finger, and it's just cruel that the filmmakers are like, no, we're gonna drag this along. We have all the tools.
I'm getting ahead of myself, but I do want to bring up the fact that they for some reason think we're invested in like one random army dude who answers a phone call at the end, and he takes a full minute of full emotion and incredible performance of weight on his part to just respect what's happened in the United States at this point in time. And I was like, why are you getting this service? And why do you as an actor care this much?
Listen, I can 100% agree with you. However, it is Tom from Desperate Housewives, so good on him for a little paycheck. He's nailing it.
We've got ourselves literally just stars from television. We got Jim from According to Jim, and we've got 3... what's it called? Simpsons characters. What?
We've got Matthew Broderick. We've got that guy who's always an old evil like oil baron, Michael Lerner, who's like always in the cone.
Is he the mayor?
He's the mayor.
Here's the thing. Why does the entire film revolve around the mayor of New York and not the United Nations or the president of the United States? It never gets up from the mayor that wants to win the next election.
I like how, like, realistically, stake-wise, pretty low. America and I think New York's invested in this story. No one else is really. No one around the world's like, there's a dinosaur in New York. It's fine.
People in New Jersey didn't give a shit. They were like,
no.
Classic.
Traffic's bad now.
Yeah. Like we get attacked by dinosaurs all the time.
That's a fucking Tuesday. Well, let's smash through this because there's a lot of plot, and I can tell you nothing of substance. Just things.
Yeah. So we begin. A big ship gets attacked and exploded or whatever. I don't think we need to go into it much, do we? No. The boat, because what we really care about and what the producers think we care about is Matthew Broderick's character for a good chunk of the film. And he's introduced driving and singing in the rain.
That is such a nice cold open, because you're just sort of like, wow, I'm intrigued. What's this monster? The film's like, no. You want to know that Matthew Broderick is studying worms in Chernobyl. and we're going to go into detail about it. He is exploring the worms. He takes a sample, and then the film goes, oh, fuck, this is really fucking boring. So then the CIA immediately come through, pick him up, go, no, we're making you more interesting. But
the movies try to like get through it, and the music's trying to hold up the pace. And my favorite thing is the music goes to a slow string romance whenever there's a picture of him and his girlfriend on a wall.
Yeah.
It's just like so
this is Matthew Broderick is specialized in the effect of nuclear radiation on animals. His big discovery is that a worm is slightly bigger while it's at Chernobyl.
And a good piece of comedy is the fact no one can pronounce his last name. So you've gotten yourself an incredible character.
It's a laugh every 6 times they use it. It's funny.
They're like, hey, what's your name? Nicapapalapalapahopoulos? And he's like, it's like,
no, it's Tippatapatippadropolis. You're like, that's funny. Keep writing that in.
Oh, I bet Roland Emmerich was rolling on the ground laughing. That's what I reckon. Why is Rene Renault shows up?
Is that Elsie?
Sorry? Philippe.
Is that is that, sorry?
Philippe, or Leon the Professional, if you will.
Oh, yeah. The French guy. I just called him the French guy. Well, we both didn't know why, because essentially the French plot we'll just smash it out here. He rocks up, he's French, and he's trying to, like, cover this whole thing up. Reading just this one-sentence plot is that French nuclear tests irradiate an iguana. So I assume he's just sent there by the French to cover up that they've fucked up this Godzilla thing, which I kind of like. It's probably the best part of the film. Just him.
I do feel embarrassed for this very seasoned French actor who's usually really good in pretty much everything I've seen him in. Getting denounced to going, oh, and getting upset about American coffee and no croissant. And they're like, no, and he's like, oh, I thought this was French roast. And they're like, no, Americano. And he's like, oh, and you're like, oh my god, you're an absolute caricature.
It's good because he got paid a lot of money to degrade himself. That's really what any actor... Listen, here's the thing. He broke into the American audiences. He's in there now. He's there.
They're like, put him in Pink Panther. Put him in... Put him in other things.
If you need a French caricature, he's got that. That's the thing. He's capitalizing on that market.
It's every single scene somebody comes up to give him pivotal information. He's halfway through eating food he hates because it's American. He's like, oh! Just the entire film. Oh! And I'm like, can you imagine?
Where the escargot? You're like, oh, come on, man.
Can you imagine as an American director going up to him and being like, can you moan more French, please? Can you
put your pussy into it? Just really give me that French suave.
He's just like, he's going, oh, French coffee, I hate it. And he's like, I need more of a
Just keeps pointing to a man in a beret. Channel that. That's what I want from you.
He's like, don't think of your character as a real living being. Think of it as a cartoon. This Etch-a-Sketch I've done for you.
This buffoonish little French man, just channel that. Should we smash out the characters and the arcs?
Yeah, let's do it, because this is, look, it's from the writers and directors of Independence Day. They very much tried to do the same thing by having a ton of actors, ton of characters, ton of plots running around. So yeah, let's get through it, because there's just some where you're like, it's a lot of time for that one cameraman.
Because I'll be honest, now I'm looking at my notes, not much happens in the way of plot, really. I've
got some of the fun stuff in the film is Matthew Broderick for a long period of time not realizing he's in a footprint. They hold the camera for ages, and he doesn't realize he's in a footprint. Ages.
You know what I like about that? They pan away, and I like the fact that the director was like, he'll figure it out. Yeah. Just film it, and then we'll get a natural reaction.
Keep going. He's just like, but where is it? Where is it? If I step over here, will I find it? If I step over, and the camera keeps on going higher and higher and being like, it's here, you're in it, you're in the footprint. And he's like,
The
but
crew
where?
snickering, laughing at
Oh.
Magic Broderick because they can't see what they see. He's
Oh.
getting more insecure, and quite down, he breaks down.
It's such a long beat to play it for, only to cut to him running after Jim from According to Jim, out of breath, going, that was a footprint. And you're like, oh no, what
That
film
was
is this?
hours ago, Matthew. How long have you been in that fucking hole for?
I love it. I love that nobody helped him. He was talking for ages and nobody helped him.
There were people doing work around him. You think, no, it's a footprint, Matthew. Come on.
So the big ship that Godzilla took down at the beginning, they do find out is filled with tuna. And
Yes.
all Godzilla apparently wants is fish. Now, I watched this and then I watched the 1950s original one.
Mm-hmm.
How insulting it is to boil Godzilla down to me want fish. Like, it's the original one is for 1950s so much better directed than this movie, but also so bleak and solemn and like rich with themes and everything it's about. It's so like anti-nuclear war and kind of anti-military that for this movie to praise the military the entire time.
This film, it's praising the military, and constantly the military cause more destruction than than help. Constantly, like, we blow up our own submarine, so they're like, it's fine, we have 7 more. Just bring them in. Keep shooting at Godzilla. What's the first one? What's the message? Why is he on land? Is it just like a metaphor?
So essentially it's all against nuclear war because Japan got really caught up in that during a time, and so it was basically they're testing nuclear bombs out on the ocean. It awakens a creature, and it's like the environment fighting back at them. And it's them going, we acknowledge we've done the wrong thing, and then Godzilla is a sympathetic character because we've ruined its home. And it, like, from what I was reading about the cultural impact of the film and how people felt about it in Japan at the time, feels really personal to how they felt about Hiroshima. Is it Hiroshima where the bomb was dropped?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and just, and essences of that. And it's also, like, it's funny that everybody keeps on being like, there's not enough Godzilla in these movies. And that, like, the original one definitely has, like, the least amount of Godzilla I've seen in any of the films. But because it's 90 minutes and there's so much political stuff happening behind the scenes about how they should retaliate, that it's like, it's just interesting. It's just a far more interesting film.
Now, Carl, you say it's interesting, but my Godzilla wants a little fishy, and he's gonna do whatever he wants to get those fish. So, I mean, it's a coin toss of which one's a better film.
Oh, it's just like once I must have been like 15 or 20 minutes into that like original black and white film, and just being like, oh god, it really makes you cringe at the Matthew Broderick one. Like.
Oh god, okay, well, let's cover the characters, and then we'll get into what essentially the army does for the first like 30 minutes.
Oh my god. And also actually, yes, we'll get into the arcs because I want to talk about so we've met Matthew Broderick. He's the worm scientist that's been brought in.
He's kind of the expert on the whole situation.
I think we need to talk about Matthew Broderick's love interest for the film.
Yes. So she is a news anchor, or she wants to be, and the evil news anchor, who's played by Kent Brockman, comedy gold,
and Ned Flanders,
and many Simpsons characters, won't let her because she's a woman. I think is the motivation.
I think so.
Something shallow. But it turns out, while the newsreel is going on, she goes, "Hey, that's Matthew Broderick. We dated in college. I broke his heart. I'm gonna do some awful things in this film and somehow be redeemed.
I'm gonna be irredeemably awful to a sweet human being through the film. I'm gonna ruin.
There's one thing you can say about Matthew Broderick. One, he's a little bit weird, but like overall, a sweetheart.
Oh
That's
my
all
god,
you get from him.
And I never once, because there's this weird thing through the movie, and that's that every woman thinks he's a fucking hunk, and you're like, Matthew Broadway. There's like scenes of people looking him up and down, be like, oh, Matthew.
God, let him put my worm in me. Like,
Oh.
oh God.
That French guy keeps looking at him going, oh,
put a baguette in my ass. It's very tasteful, the French stuff done in the film. It's very, very on brand. I like just that, like, what's it called? Roland just doesn't know any country, but just caricatures. That's just how he sees the world. So when he was like Godzilla, it's like, oh, so the lizard? I can do that. Smash
I know.
it out.
It's also just really weird to me that it's like, if you're doing like this kind of remake, why France? Why wouldn't you just get the Japan or something so that they still feel actively involved in the movie?
I kind of like it's French. You never see them. The French are never the villains, really.
Are the French the villains in Flushed Away?
They are, yes. That is actually very true. However, I believe the English is the real top dog villain, and his brother, I think, is French. I think that might be where you're getting the confusion from. It's fine. Some of us are bigger Flashed Away fans than others. It's fine. Now we just know who is who.
Yep. Oh, and you should be embarrassed that it's you.
Listen, I got this tattoo for a reason. I'm a big fan, okay?
He's a big fan of, like, Rory or something. I don't know.
It's Rodney, you fucking
Rodney,
idiot.
that's it.
Yeah,
no.
how about before you mock?
Who's the fat buffoonish rat that flushes him away? Is that Rory?
Oh, that's I want to say it's played by James Corden. It's definitely not, but it's he gives us the vibe of James Corden, but it's some dirty English actor. I'm not sure who.
Something. Yeah. Look.
All right, who else we got? So we got the love interest.
So we then got the love interest's best friend's boyfriend, Hank Azaria, who's Mo.
Yes.
And Apu on The Simpsons. Yes. I don't know why. Is it produced by somebody that makes The Simpsons? Because Nancy Cartwright's in this too.
Yeah, I don't know what. I think it was just the 90s. They were like, get everybody involved. This is going to be a good time capsule. We're going to really capture the whole essence of what we're doing. No, so Hank's a weird character. He's just the friend. He has a camera. He wants to capture some footage. I think that's his character arc.
Like I think a thing that really annoys me, considering how many characters are set up in this movie, is that none of them die.
No.
And I just
some of them
wanted, not all of them, I mean, I did want all of them to die, but Hank Azaria really should have died in this film.
Yeah, because he was like the wisecracking, kind of asshole.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of would have worked. I thought he was, but he just didn't die.
Like, it's
no
like
one dies, do
he
they?
should have died. No, nobody dies. Literally, there's no... Honestly, Godzilla's come in, he's attacked New York, and believe it or not, the death toll's 0. Wow. Thank God. Like...
We can talk. Well, let's establish the characters, because one, I want to talk about the army. I also want to talk about Godzilla's just plan in general and how he gets around. But anyone else? Who else we got? We got the news
mayor?
anchor guy.
Oh, sorry,
the mayor,
yeah.
yes.
The mayor's up for re-election. He's like a election promoter guy, campaign manager. He has a fun arc. Maybe he has the best arc in the film.
Exactly. I'm glad he does. We also have the army general. His arc is that he is an army general from the start to the finish.
That's Jim from The World According to Jim.
It is. We
It's going to be egg on my face if that's not the actor.
Oh, you're going to be fucking idiot, aren't you? Let's have a look.
We also click on him? No, is it Jim Belushi that's The World According to Jim?
I was going to say, his name is not Jim. It's Kevin Dunn.
Surely Kevin Dunn's in The World According to Jim. Was he in some sitcom back in the day?
No. Egg on your fucking face.
He's not Jim from The World According to Jim?
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. He's kept saying the word. I have no clue what that TV show is.
Who's the star of The World According to Jim? Can you look it up?
The World According to Jeff Goldblum? Have you made up a show?
Is it not The World According to Jim?
The World According to... What are you talking about? What is this show? According
I'm
to
gonna
Jim.
hang
There
on.
we go.
Hang
It's according to
hang
Jim.
on. Oh, the world according to Jim.
Starring Jim Belushi.
Oh,
Such
it's
a
Jim
simple...
Damn it!
What the hell?
Damn it! Ugh.
Oh, you know what? Actually, now I've seen this. I remember this on Fox 8 all the time.
Yeah.
At like 2 p.m. So, yeah.
It's actually, and I don't want to overstate this, the world according to Jim, height of comedy. Height of comedy. You're not gonna get better. You're not gonna get worse, but you're not gonna get better than that. The shenanigans,
eight seasons. I've not heard a single person ever who's binging The World According to Jim.
Sorry, me, but only if it's Kevin Dunn.
All right. Do we have any other characters we want to talk about?
So we've done the French guy. Who else is in this film?
We should talk about the French guy. He's like mysterious. He's got a couple of gang members. Oh, and Godzilla. I guess Godzilla is a character.
Well, I mean, I would consider him a character in that original version. I think he's just he's a big object in this one and nothing more.
Yeah, cool. All right, those are our characters. Let's just set the scene. The army tries to blow up Godzilla. What happens?
They can't do it.
No, they can't, because they haven't got enough guns. So then Godzilla runs away, and they lose Godzilla.
How? How do they lose him? What the fuck was this? I hated this. How do you lose? Nobody saw where he went. Nobody saw where he got in the entire city.
The film even goes... The film kind of goes, you lost him? Like, yes, sir. No, you didn't. He didn't jump in the water, I found out. At least if he jumped in the water, he's like, oh, we've lost him in the water. He's hiding behind a fucking building. The Godzilla is like 200 meters tall.
It's that he's like hiding underground. He like went down a pothole. He was like, I can make myself fit any space. It's another superpower. Godzilla. When he comes up from a pothole, I was... What do you mean you were fucking hiding? Nobody saw you scammering down underneath into like into the underbelly of New York.
Oh my god. Okay, we can talk about the logistics of Godzilla. No idea how he gets... Okay, apparently the film says he burrows. Sure. Whatever, this massive lizard burrows. I don't get how is New York still standing if this fucking... What I can only assume is a building-sized thing is carving out massive tunnels. This city's gone, right? This is done.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it should crumble. At the end, they should be like, we all got away safe, and then everything begins to shake, and then it just crumbles.
The mayor takes one step down Broadway and
he's
just
like,
destroys the whole thing.
I did it by myself. That's right. I didn't need the president or anybody else. I was the highest opinion. I was the New York mayor. I was the Rudy Giuliani.
The Twin Towers are in the background quite a bit.
Here's the
upsetting.
thing. You don't get away with making this film after 9/11. There's so much destruction in New York. Like,
there's a shot where like the Twin Towers are just like standing there and he gets struck by lightning. I don't know what it is. It's just like an insert shot. I've got no clue why.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you know how like all of the monsters Godzilla battles are like kind of like iconic monster designs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Roland Emmerich, I think, said that he thought they were silly. And that they were going to make a trilogy, and that the next one he'd just create his own monsters, and they would fight in Sydney.
That could be fun. I wouldn't have mind that.
Yeah, there you go. Roland Emmerich knows what's up.
Although it's like historical, Mothra is quite silly.
Yeah, they're all silly. They're all silly, but they're fun. This movie. Oh, there is not an ounce of fucking fun to be had in this film. At least, Independence Day is quite a fun movie. Whereas, I guess, you know what it is? It's probably the fact that, like, Will Smith's a far more charismatic main actor to have than Matthew Broderick. Like,
That's
he
the
can just...
thing. Now that we've listed off all the characters, I'm like, I thought there was loads. There's not really many. And the film goes on for a while. A lot of it's just Godzilla destroying the place.
Yeah.
I don't really have much notes because all the army do is constantly get like buffooned by Godzilla. Constantly, they have him by a building like, "We got him, sir," and Godzilla pops up behind them.
Yeah.
Like
So
Bugs Bunny-esque.
So one of their big plans is, because they've lost Godzilla, they've lost him.
Yeah. Just
that is
fuck it.
to-
He just
is to get a big pile of fish, because all Godzilla wants is fish. So they make this giant pile of fish, and all they needed was this ripping scientist to come along and be like, "Why don't we just give him fish? He's paying for
constantly
himself."
Matthew Broderick is like just like constantly throughout the whole film is just laughed at with such simple ideas. I remember one of the scientists is like, "I think it's a massive lizard," and everyone's like, "Yeah, of course, of course." And he's like, "What if radiation was the issue?" And they're like, "What?" Don't be so preposterous. And then this one, he goes to the general. He's like, "Hey, I know you're trying to kill him. Why don't you try and lure him out?" And the general's like, "Fucking hell. All right, let's. All right, Poindexter.
The
let's try your
the
plan."
general clocks his guns, and he's like, "A peaceful? No, no. What would these two bad boys be for then? What would I
Points
do
him
with
up
these?"
Matthew's nose, just like, "Huh? Smell that? That's peace right there, baby."
That's napalm in the morning. You know that line? People like that line. This is something that I thought was hilarious when Matthew Broderick thought of it, because they've got a giant pile of fish in the middle of New York, but Godzilla's nowhere to be seen. Matthew Broderick's like, he needs to smell it. He needs to be able to smell it. So he goes up and he opens up like a vent in the ground so he can smell it, because Godzilla needs to smell it like cartoon lines when there's a pie cooking.
Oh
Like-
yeah, he needs Godzilla's underground floating. It's like, "Oh, I can smell some fish right there."
He floats up like Bugs Bunny and moves through the air to the smell of the fish.
I don't get. It's so lengthy. Like it's like I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's like a minute of just many people opening manholes. Like we can just assume he can smell it.
I would have loved them on the road being like, "Get us a giant fan." It's just...
we need a big.
I want people in Brooklyn being like, "What the fuck smells of fish?" Just like, "Oh, it reeks."
Everyone in the sewers going, "Oh, before they couldn't smell it, but now the manholes are open. It's fucking stinks."
Was there not a single person in the sewer that could have told them that Godzilla was down there, burrowing around?
I'm sure there's a lot of sewer folk in New York. I
Do
mean,
we
I can say that factually.
Godzilla doesn't have, like, Godzilla has the body of a frog. They've given him the body of a frog for some reason.
It
Like,
is a weird
hops
design.
around.
It's kind of like an alligator walking.
Yeah, it's weird. It's got, like, a goanna, not a go...
I mean, technically, it is an iguana. So.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Good one, America. What if he was an iguana? That makes up for all of the themes in the first movie.
Exactly. We were patching it together. Anyway, Godzilla rocks up, comes out the floor. Helicopters chase it. This is the first fun act of... I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it worked in Independence Day when they blew up the White House. Everyone loves that.
Yeah.
The director, again, has just latched onto that. Just like, I'm going to blow up as many loved
It looks...
landmarks.
It's weird, though, because the movie looks worse than Independence Day.
You reckon?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I just was like, the green screen effects of Godzilla ever moving around in front of people, I just thought was shocking.
Oh, that's fair enough. Because I feel like Independence Day is just fire.
Yeah.
Like, it's always just like... And fire's easier.
Yeah, that's true.
But a massive lizard is a bit far-fetched for some people.
I'm just saying, you've spent like $150 million on a film, and like, this is what you're giving us. When I think even Jurassic Park looks a lot better than this, and that was like 8 years earlier.
It is. I feel like it gets talked about so much, but it is just like... It shows like Jurassic Park, they're like, we're going to use, I don't know, 15 seconds of visual effects and the rest are puppets. And this
Yeah.
one's like, we've got an hour of unedited Godzilla rocking around, and it looks good.
Because what I will say, anytime they use a puppet in this movie, looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. It hasn't aged, and so it's like they've flat out when they get to the baby Godzillas, they've literally gone, oh, just get the raptors from Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
Get the same animatronics. Just get them.
It's such a weird film because, like, again, this first 90 minutes is setting up is a Godzilla film. And we'll get into like what there's a 40-minute Jurassic Park sequence, and then there's like a 20-minute Fast and Furious sequence.
Yeah, it's like I've never seen a direct. This guy's just like not doing suspense. Like I was like, he doesn't draw out a scene or anything. Shit, it'll just happen, and you're like, oh, okay, I guess this is just happening.
It is crazy how like little, like, essentially the first scene of the film is Godzilla. And then you get introduced to Matthew Broderick, and I think that like the movie's like, this needs to move quickly, and then at 18 minutes we get Godzilla again. Like, there's not a moment where there's not like a thing. The tension, like the suspense, is not there because it just isn't time for suspense.
Yeah, look. So I reckon let's get to the big awful decision that Matthew Broderick's love and interest makes in this film.
Yeah, of course. Well. First off, Matthew Broderick, I don't know how he figures this out. On a hunch, he's like, I'm pretty sure that thing's pregnant. Bit rude to assume.
So it turned out Godzilla did bleed. And he analyzed the blood, and it was pregnant blood.
Pretty progressive that he can get pregnant. So good on them, 90s.
There you go.
Do we think they kept it a boy because they didn't want a girl to be Godzilla?
I just assumed.
No way. They say it, but I assume it's because the lizards reproduce, right?
Yeah, but I thought they just do it. But I mean, now I'm saying it out. Now I'm saying it out loud.
You sound buffoonish.
I'm gonna retract. My statement.
No, we've got it on audio here. No. I think you thought a lizard just shut out another lizard.
I'm editing. It's gone. Done.
I think you thought they just lay an egg and there's there's another lizard.
No, we'll never know what I said. I've bleeped it out. Matthew Broderick, he finds out that they're going to be laying eggs, and he has a tape from like the first sighting of Godzilla, and just a ton of really important secret evidence.
Yes.
And for some reason, he's like, hey, this woman that said no to me when I proposed 4 years ago or whatever, I've randomly bumped into her in New York. She is a reporter. Let's invite her into the tent with all the information. So she then steals all the information, goes to the news with it. All of it comes out, and Matthew Broderick loses his job. So she's done a bad thing.
Yes, very bad thing.
But was Matthew Broderick's character asking for it?
Yes, I'm glad we say that now.
Yeah, like, because he's lured her to a tent full of juicy information. And
like fish to Godzilla. She's floated like a pie. Like, ooh, evidence for my story. And quite frankly, he tried to get her a big net. It didn't work. It worked for Godzilla, but not for her. Although, here's the thing. Her plan doesn't work because her boss takes the story and pretends to run with it. Do we think if she got credit, she wouldn't run back to Matthew Broderick?
Yep. I reckon had it all gone A-OK for her, she wouldn't have cared.
But that sad sack lost his job, and she's like, "Oh fuck! Well, I don't have a story.
Because he's
keep following you."
Here's the thing: wouldn't it have done more for her character if she had been the one that reported it, and then was still
I was
this
very
doesn't feel
surprised.
right.
Yeah, she just loses, and then she's like, "Oh, I guess I'll get back to." There's so much stuff in this film.
Yeah.
And now, like, looking back at, like, his other films, like 2012, I think this is definitely the worst one, but there's just so much shit that doesn't need to be here.
No, 10,000 BC is, like, unwatchable.
Is that just... I can't... What could be so extensive about that plot? What is that?
There's like double the amount of characters in 10,000 BC.
It's
Like,
short as well. It's an hour 40. So like,
oh
whew.
god. So, but then again, so much of it's just like about fighting a lion. Like, it's just like it basically. he's subbed out Godzilla for a lion in 10,000 BC.
It's crazy. It's crazy to make so much money.
Oh, I know.
It's
I fucking hate that White House Down movie. I think that's a terrible film.
Okay, so Godzilla again absolutely buffoons them. Godzilla jumps in the water like a beautiful dive.
Oh, it's a stunning dive. Honestly, when he dived, I raised a card. I gave him a 7.
I gave him an 8, so there we go. Look at that, critics.
Look at that.
Anyway, it feels a bit... I mean, we can't really comment on it. The military has just a submarine armed in Hudson Bay. I don't know if this just happens, but yeah. Anyway, this feels like this shouldn't be able to happen, but they shoot torpedoes at Godzilla. Godzilla slightly turns left, and then the torpedoes immediately come back to the submarine, blow it up. That seems like a crazy oversight. That shouldn't be able to happen.
Was it just? Did it sail there? Like they were like Godzilla's a thing, and somebody in a submarine was like, "We'll get to New York immediately."
No, I think they literally have armed missiles pointing at New York, just in case.
So they have the foresight to have a submarine with missiles, but not enough foresight to just find the fucking lizard.
I don't know.
In the city.
I just don't fucking get it. Because it's not... I thought it jumped in the water. I got that. I'm like, well, maybe someone saw it jump in the water. No, it's just hiding behind a building. Or it burrowed. But I feel like there should be a big fucking hole in the ground somewhere.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to lose it. It's the dumbest thing in the screenplay is the idea they lose the lizard.
The noise alone, I just feel like would deafen many people.
The other day, there was a tiny little blue-tongue lizard in my room. And I didn't even lose that. So how the fuck did they lose this giant one in a city?
You were deaf for 2 days. We couldn't record. The screams that little lizard made, it broke you, didn't it? Anyway, Godzilla's gone now. Yeah. And I was like, cool, there's an hour left of this film.
Feels like more. Feels like more.
So much more. So much more. Anyway, so Matthew is disgraced. The French guy's like, hey, come here. We're gonna fix this. Now, I've got so many guns.
Now, shouldn't this just be the movie? Shouldn't the movie have been like, America's completely shut out France from dealing with the situation? A secret French ops has had to grab an American scientist, and they've got to infiltrate the city that's been taken over.
100%, 100%. Because this gun thing, I don't know how... Again, they joke about it, like, we've got a lot of guns. There is one joke I like in this film. They're like, we're going to chew some gum so we look American. And I'll be honest, they did look American. So it actually checks out. I was pretty happy with that joke.
But then I feel like they ruined that joke by making him do an Elvis Presley impersonation.
They do. I'll be honest, the good faith of the gum joke went very quick. I was very happy and very sad.
And then they explain the joke.
Yeah, that's the thing. I liked in a big blockbuster film they had, like, don't say the balls, because again, the stakes were so low on this gum joke, but just have, like, it's kind of funny, and then they just destroyed it, ruined it.
Do you reckon this was made for French audiences?
In mind, yes. I feel like, what's that guy who makes Valerian City?
Oh, Luc Besson.
Yeah, I feel like he always has... Like, I feel like if there's like a French person in the film and they're not like a caricature, he's involved. He's like, the French will love it.
Do you reckon the French were like applauding when they were like, oh, French roast is awful here. Oh, Americano, shit coffee. They were like, yeah.
I'll be honest, when we see Australians in film and TV, I'm pretty happy.
I fucking love them. Absolutely love them. Remember that episode of The Simpsons where they mock Australia? Love it. It's like our national anthem here. We love being made fun of. Yeah, so then what's her face is all upset about the fact that Matthew Broderick's lost his job. So she's having a little sook.
Oh, but then Hank's like, you know what would make it up to him we're going to spy on him, break
he
the
uses
story.
her. He essentially uses her. That's why I think Hank Azaria should die.
Yeah, I don't know why he's like redeemed. He's not even really redeemed. He kind of just gets a bit of a kick at the bum. That's it. So anyway, here's the stakes.
Yeah.
We've got Matthew Broderick, French guy, a bunch of French people. The woman and Hank Azaria, they're trying to look for the eggs. I don't really get this subplot in the film. Essentially, Matthew Broderick's like, hey, there's probably like eggs because this thing's pregnant. The military is like, no fucking way. I don't understand. If a massive fucking lizard has entered the city, how is it out of the realm it's pregnant? Like, it seems like it's a silly day. I think anything's like up to chance. Anything could happen.
They're so sure. They're so sure of it. They're like, because New Yorkers are protesting to get back into the heart of the city.
It's been hours. Who the hell wants to go back to rubble? There's a fucking lizard on the loose. And they're like, just let me back in. I gotta have that bagel. It's a New York reference for you guys. The Big Apple, if you will. I know we have all
30 Rock. 30 Rock Tower.
Rockefeller. We can continue. The eggs are in Madison Square.
Yep. And now Hank Azaria is upset because it's personal. Because he likes the Mets or something.
He likes the Knicks. I don't know. Do we like this? This again, like, it's an hour of this. Essentially, the eggs break open.
Here's the thing. That nobody's fearful of the fucking Godzilla. Nobody's scared of Godzilla, and nobody's scared of these eggs. No. And so there's no sense of suspense in these sequences, because nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit. It's a weird...
There's 20 dinosaurs looking at them, and then Hank's like, we're gonna run, hug the wall, they won't be able to get us. And it works.
It's
like, so often they just outrun them.
Or they don't. It just depends on whether the character's expendable or not. That the little mini Godzilla will kill anyone. It's like it can. There's a part where they just run past it, and it chomps at them so late. It's like when there's like the elevator scenes, and they just watch Matthew Broderick in an elevator. Why?
Yeah. I don't know, and it goes for ages. I've got no notes on it, but it goes on for an hour.
I'm a big fan of I went to make fun of him. Matthew Broderick drops a gumball machine on the ground, and I was like, "What's that gonna do?" But it works, and they all fall over. They all slip over. The dinosaurs fall over. So they then get to a point where they realize they can broadcast the evidence that there's baby Godzillas out to the world, and so the entire population of the world hinges on a man named Ed in an editing suite. What are your thoughts on Ed and his performance?
Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I think this character they nail it, because immediately a woman pops up on screen, like, not listen to you, and then Hank Azaria's like, hey, it's me. He's like, oh, a man, what you got there, buddy? And just dinosaurs. We'll put it on air. It seems crazy that this man has so much power to put literally anything on every television ever, and he's just a buffoon.
And it's also a switchboard. What the fuck is that about?
Right?
Is that how it was done in the 90s?
Let me get the blue cord into the red cord. No fucking way. They had digital stuff, right? They had Nintendos. The Game Boy was out.
Surely they didn't have switchboards.
For the internet. The internet existed. Ridiculous.
Yeah. Amazon was nearly a thing.
Yeah, they were selling books. Big shout out to Jeff Bezos, huh? We're big fans on the podcast here.
A real underdog, that man.
Yeah, real big underdog. And again, we still have not been approved for Amazon Podcasts, so maybe want to give us a little...
We've honestly, the amount of emails we've had about people saying, please be on Amazon Podcasts, please. It's the optimal way to listen to people's opinions I don't care about is through the Amazon Podcast, and you won't even let us be on it, Jeff. You're
We're
losing
we're
money.
the primary audience. People don't really want to listen to. We should be on that website. Put us on, Jeffrey. Ridiculous.
Oh my god!
Anyway,
if I was an Amazon shareholder, I'd dump my stock over this.
and I think we can legally give out that advice. If you have Amazon stock, dump it right now.
I'm going to say right now, I don't think the company's going anywhere. I've said this since 2005. The company's never going to amount to anything. There's this great new video chain that's opening called Blockbuster. Put your dollars in that bad boy.
Invest. Sell your Apple stock. Get onto the Blackberries. They're coming back in a big way. Yeah. And I think it could be the next big thing.
I don't think Netflix is going to take off. DVDs in the mail? No. They'll never go digital either, so just dump it.
We're doing this bit, but I will say this. Have you seen what know how people got like records now and that's like a thing? People have started buying like videos and VCRs and that's like the new like
a video.
Yeah, a video. How fuck's that?
It's the shittest way to watch a film. It does that thing where it like springs around a little bit and it gets little ziggy lines.
Literally. Well, people like have to buy like these like very expensive TVs, but like still 4x3. It's atrocious because they can't watch the film like well because the filmmakers have cropped it to be able to on a 4x3. Awful way to watch a film. I don't know why he would do it.
Ugh. I bet our listeners do it. You fucking idiots.
You freaks. You bloody freaks. Anyway.
Having said that, if anyone would like to buy a video from me, I do have a lot. Just, I have a lot.
Imagine our promotion for this podcast is just you're like a garage sale. Just like, let me rummage around. I got some videos. Finding Nemo on VCR. Any takers? That can be how we make money on this podcast. We can be millionaires.
Look. So, the Eds saved the day. They're going to nuke Madison Square Garden.
Crazy that's like the first decision everyone's on board for.
Yeah.
That like the entire army's like, well, yeah, of course. No, there's this.
And for some reason, Ed's the one that's like, you've got 6 minutes. I was like, why'd the military tell you?
You wouldn't believe how important Ed is. Ed's just above the mayor, Carl. He's very pivotal in the political discussion, okay?
I'd love that. I want a movie on Ed. Give me Ed.
Life according to Ed. Okay, so the eggs are blown up. We've got 20 minutes to go. They all jump in a taxi, and then Godzilla just chases them around. He bites them in the mouth. He drives off this stuff. I'm very upset.
It's also you have to watch Godzilla mourn his dead children. The movie revels in it. They're like, look at his dead fucking kids. Look at him. Look how much he cared.
And we're rooting for Hank Azaria's. I'm pretty sure I nailed that. We're not rooting for anybody.
No.
Only Godzilla, really.
They also foil Godzilla by driving fast and then turning around, and it causes Godzilla to slip over like a clumsy bitch. He's like, oh!
Oh god, my klutzy slut. Well, I don't get it, because it outruns a helicopter and averts a helicopter. How is a small taxi this breaking point for this character?
I'm sorry. Have you seen New York traffic? A taxi has to go pretty fast. It's funny because traffic fucking moves slow there. You barely get out of second gear. This is crazy. So I must have just stopped taking notes because I stopped caring. But I've just got they use high beams to blind Godzilla, and then
no, you're right.
Works.
You're right. Essentially, they're in a tunnel. So essentially, they're in a tunnel. They're looking down Godzilla. Godzilla's there, and they're like, "Don't worry, guys, I've got this." Matthew steps on the pedal, drives forward, and then turns on the second light, and Godzilla's like, "Ow, God, I'm blinded," which is bullshit. It's literally been shot by missiles. $5 million missiles, hasn't got a scratch, and a 90s car taxi light pops off. Maybe a 2000 15 LED, because those are fucking bright. But this taxi no way blinds it. It's bullshit. Anyway, Godzilla's so blinded, it trips on the bridge that divide.
Yeah, it gets stuck on a bridge. And
Yeah.
they're like, it worked, we got him stuck on a bridge. And you're like, what?
Do you think it's real? It's pretty weird. Godzilla's stuck on this bridge, and Matthew and it share a moment. They longingly look at each other. They share a moment, and I was in heat. That was pretty. That's pretty
Just
special.
fucking kiss. Just kiss. Honestly.
Lock tongues, you sluts. Go on.
I would have loved it if he went up to Godzilla and he would just had this big character turn where he's like, Godzilla wouldn't have stolen that tape from me. And just turns around to her slowly and is like, it's you. You were the beast. And this was the beauty. And then it cuts to credits and you're like, wow, powerful.
That's a powerful film. That's a real theme. Listen, it's a weird message because you've watched the first one. It seems like it's a nice metaphor for the destruction of nuclear war and like the impact on the environment. This message is that the military can do it. All they need is a net. But once the military has a net, this fucker's gone. That's pretty much it.
I thought it was interesting because when I was reading up on it, the screenwriter thinks this is a pretty bad film. And the screenwriter said one of their big mistakes was they never themselves decided if Godzilla was going to be an empathetic character or an antagonist. And so Godzilla's just kind of a thing. And it's
it feels like that.
That's
like
what it feels
dies,
like.
And like it dies. You're a bit like you feel empty, but not like in a like just like, oh, like it's done.
So, yeah, I just was like, oh, you know what? I think that screenwriter really nailed it on the head. It just because it doesn't feel like it's just a thing doing a thing, and it's nothing more than that.
That's really it, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well. Oscar, who would watch 1998 Godzilla?
I thought people that like disaster films, but I'm not even going to say that. I think if you don't like the metaphor of if you're a fan of nuclear weapons, then this is for you because that other Godzilla's a bummer. I'll be saying right now, really puts a dampening on nuclear weapons. I think the military's tight, and this is the film for you.
Yeah, interesting.
Carl, who would watch 1998 Godzilla?
I bet Roland Emmerich chucks it on occasionally.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I guess if you grew up in Australia, during the early 2000s, you watched this on television, and that's who it's for, and that's where it stays.
I like this film is only Australians can really get the nuances of mocking the French. That's really what we like.
We love the setting of New York. What can we say? We love a New York aesthetic.
Love the Big Apple. They go to the park. They go to the Hudson River. I don't think they do the Statue of Liberty. Is that in New York, or am I really off?
Yeah, that's in New York. That's on Rumpelstiltskin Island, if I recall.
That's the word. That's the name, I believe. Yes.
Yep. Because you've got New Jersey. You got what else is there? Auckland, and then you've got New York, and then you got Rumpelstiltskin Island.
Yeah, you got Bronte.
Yeah, Bronte's a good place.
Straight out of Compton.
Yes, I've always wanted to go to Stress Out of Compton. It's actually German. It's one word.
That's really why it's got that nice heritage there.
Yeah. Oh, how fun! All right, Oscar, what are we reviewing next week?
Next week, we are doing Point Break. That's right, the 2015 version. I assume the better version? We're talking about it.
Oh no.
It's the 2015 remake of Point Break.
It's the remake. And are we going to have fun reviewing it?
Oh, you bet your buttons.
Yeah, sure. I'm not... I can act. Yes, I'll have fun.
Alright, thank you for listening.
Bye.